Hey, I'm glad I finally caught up with you. I'm from the Trackers Alliance. We have a proposal for you. Good, because what I'm about to tell you could change the course of your life.
What's up, X and YouTube? Matt A here. Today I have a couple of videos to put out, but right now we're going to have a little bit of a review on the Trackers Alliance quest. Now, I'm sure everyone knows because it's all the buzz. Starfield released their creations, and with that came a Trackers Alliance quest, which was free, and then they added a premium Trackers Alliance quest. So this is kind of a review of the whole thing because I figured, it wouldn't really be fair if I just reviewed the free content, because the free content is connected to, the paid content. Now, if I just reviewed the free content, the score would be a lot higher, right? Because it's all for free. But because we have to pay for the other one, the standards are going to be higher, right? I don't care about paying for mods. I'm cool with it. I'm cool paying the premium and getting the premium content. But when you do have the paid stuff, you're going to have higher standards because you're spending money on it. So this review needs to be fair to the viewers. As much as a Bethesda fan as I am, and as much as I like Starfield, this review is going to be as fair as possible, because if I just did the free content, I'd probably, I'd want to give it a 10 out of 10 because it's free. What is there to complain about that? But it's tied to, like I said, this paid premium add-on. So it all ties together. And, I would say you pretty much, you have to kind of get both. You can't, if you play the quest, you're really going to be snaked into getting the premium content, which is okay, because if you did get the premium version of the game like I did, you'll get the credits. It's not that much, it's like $5 or whatever, so be it. But you are snaked into it, right? You can't just do a part of a quest or part of a story. It does tie into the story quite a bit and the lore of being in the Trackers Guild, right? So the thing is, yeah, if you get the Trackers Alliance, you play the free one, you're going to want the premium one. There's a 90% chance you're going to get the premium version of it. And Bethesda knew that, of course, right? So there's a 90% chance you're probably going to get the paid version too. So right off the bat, we could start with this, and I will say that I want to give the whole thing a 7 out of 10.
You're prompt. Good trait for a tracker. Anyhow, we can talk about punctuality, or we can get down to business.
I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to say 7 out of 10. All right. I'm going to start with the negatives, actually, and then go into the positives. Or wait, is that how most people do it? I wait, maybe they do it that way, right? Okay, so I'll roll footage and the background and all of that from when I played it. But basically, I would say I would knock a point off for the accessibility. And what I mean by that is there's no barrier to entry. There's nothing you have to do. There's nothing that sets this off. It's just one of those cliche, Fallout, Elder Scrolls type add-ons where it just shows up in your quest. Actually, yeah. I mean, sometimes even in Fallout, you have to switch to a radio signal or go to a certain location. Nope. For this, it just pops up right away as soon as you get into New Atlantis. Nothing really triggers it. Nothing mysterious. You don't have to, locate a signal, fight through anything, do anything at all. It just pops up in your quest, which is okay. It's not the end of the world, right? But I do ding a point for that. There's nothing crazy about it, right? It just pops up. You go over, talk to the NPC, you get the quest to, to go somewhere else, and blah blah blah. Of course, you know how these Bethesda quests work. So I ding it a point for that. I'm gonna ding another point for gear. There aren't that many new weapons or gear to use, right? As far as I know, I've only seen 2 different heavy weapons, which is, that arc laser that they showed, which I'm sure can be OP once you upgrade the lasers to have, to catch enemies on fire. But right now, it's not that great. The suit that you get isn't that great. That suit that they showed in the preview that, has like thermal protection, it's not that great. Now, granted, it probably scales with the level you are. So if you do it at a higher level, you're going to get a higher level suit, but there's nothing special about it. So I ding a point for the gear. Now I give it a point back because there is a new mechanic I'm gonna go over later with gear. But as far as like actual new gear that you can access freely, hey, these are everywhere at vendors. The only one that I saw was the arc laser. I haven't seen anything that really stands out or anything new or innovative with that. The only added armor gear that I've seen so far is, the fire suit. And if we're looking at the DLC from, a compact perspective, that's the way I'm going to look at it, right? So the third point I'm going to take off for the length of it and the fact that it is in 2 parts and you do have to get the DLC. So, I mean, the paid DLC. So that is actually, going to take a point off for me because the free portion of it isn't long enough. And then if you want to make it long enough to make it worth it, you have to add on the premium mod, the premium DLC, which is good. It doesn't, get rid of your achievements or anything. It's lore friendly. I mean, it's official Bethesda, so it's fine in that regard. But I will have to take a point off for that. So now we're at a 7 out of 10. So I could go through the points again. So point 1 point in its favor, I would say the writing's really good. The dialogue is really good. I do like it. They do give you a lot of dialogue choices. Now, as far as dialogue goes, it's going to tie into the story, which gives it another point. The story behind it is actually good. The voice acting is really good. The design is going to go into another point. So we're at 3. The design is really good. The designs of the Trackers Alliance Guild, the way they operate, the head of the Trackers Alliance Guild is really cool because he's kind of like, a Starborn, but not a Starborn. So his identity is completely secretive. We don't know who he or she is. We don't know anything about them, and their entire lives get erased when they become, head of the agency or the guild. I give it another point for adding lore. So it adds critical lore elements that we were missing from the vanilla game because we always saw the Trackers Alliance, quests and boards for bounties, but we didn't know too much about them except for what, that one person told us on Sidonia. Now we get a whole bunch of lore behind the Trackers Alliance. We actually could put a face to the name. They feel real. They feel lived in, kind of like the Fighters Guild, which goes to the next point. So we're at 5 now, and we're at 5 because it does feel like a real guild. They do feel like they know each other. There's a really nice base component for it. And they do that thing in this where you unlock more of the base or unlock more of, the lore behind it and the people who work for it, the longer you progress in the storyline. So the more stuff you do, the more bounties you do, the more things you do within the storyline, the more you unlock, the more lore, the more dialogue you get. So that gives it another point. So that's really fantastic. Can't say enough good things about that. For the 6th point, I will say did I talk about the story? The story is really good. Everything involving the quest are really good. It's not just a fetch quest. There's actually story behind it. I'm not going to spoil it or put it in here because it's actually dynamic enough to spoil. It will spoil it for you because there is a twist. There are a few twists to it. There are backgrounds to it. Some of the people that you're hunting down have stories to them. They have backgrounds. They have lives. There are slates where, the slates will have more of a background. There are computer text. So there's text, there's audio logs. There are all these things that create an actual in-universe person. So you actually feel like you're hunting a person. It's not just some nameless person like you would get before. So before, you would go to the Trackers Alliance, you would get a bounty. They do have these in this too, but which are a lot better. I'm going to get to, which is going to be our last point, I guess. And we're messing up the point system, but anyways. So before you would just get a bounty, go do the bounty, and there's not really much to the story. You just go and you complete the bounty, whatever. In this one, these premium bounties, there's, like I said, there's stories, slates, text, lore, in-universe things about them that make it really interesting. So the story is really good. Radiant quests are actually going to give it another point. So yeah, we're at a solid 7 because the Radiant quests are good. And I'll tell you why. Because the bounties on the bounty board for the Trackers Alliance actually take you to places that you normally wouldn't go. They take you through, you know, dungeons, and there's actually a purpose to them. For example, whereas before you might land on, like, I don't know, let's say Ares 5C, you land on it for no reason. There's nothing there. There's no reason to land. You land on it. You see there's an ecliptic base somewhere, and it's you know, it's a refinery. It's the underground lab. It's a whatever. It's just the random ecliptic. You know what? I'm gonna change it to pirate. It's a random crimson. It's a hold on. It's a random Crimson Fleet base, right? It's just, you know, one of those random labs or whatever the F it is. Now, with the bounty boards, this actually takes you through them to get your bounties. So it actually places bounties on targets within these, you know, structures on various different planets. So it actually gets you to go through, and you actually have a purpose for doing that. And when you get the rewards are really good. You get the credits, you get things like that. They added this new premium currency called Astra. This is kind of like if you had a physical version of Bitcoin. So it's like a physical version of Bitcoin or something. It's outside of the purview of the government or the colonial system. So you have Astra that you can find when you're going on these missions in different places. And with Astra, you can turn them in and get rare gear, kind of like in Fallout 76, where you will turn in stamps or whatever, or turn in cores, and, you know, the vendor gives you the rare stuff. So it is a good way to farm and get rare things, because as we know, in the vanilla game, it was extremely hard to get super rare items. Some people might have, you know, you could save scum it, you could go do certain things. I played the game normally. I played the game, you know, I'm pretty hardcore Bethesda game player. You could see I play Daggerfall. I play everything Bethesda. I played through the game. I barely, I should say rarely ever got super unique items. Almost never. And I have 12 next game pluses. I went through 12 NGs, and I barely saw any rare stuff drop. With this system, you can actually get rares. And that pretty much covers it. That's the Trackers Alliance. That's why I gave it a 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching. I did hit 50 subscribers. Now we're going to do 100. So if I can get to 100 subscribers, that would be great. If you do like the video, you like the content, if you think this was fair, or you think I was being biased, let me know what you think. If you played the Tracker Alliance, or if you're starting Starfield for the first time, did you jump in because of the Trackers Alliance guild that was added in the quest? All right, I'll see you next time. Thanks.